It was a wonderful time growing up here.
It was a big, beautiful community.
Caring, wonderful people.
You know, I have no family here, but the church family is my real family here.
From day one, we always felt that this is family.
This is home. There's not another word for it, right?
The cathedral is my second home.
The beauty of the cathedral, the people, the hospitality.
Just a wonderful place to really grow up in.
You can't find that just anywhere, and that's why we're still here. That's why we love it here.
My family came in the 1920s, and we had no priest.
The traveling priests used to come and visit our house. Mother and Dad would be prepared for them, and they'd stay at our house, and we were baptized in our own house and from these traveling priests.
We were delighted when Father Sadie came, I think around 1925 or 26, and organized his church, St. George's. In the beginning, we held services in his little house next door on 36th and Gramercy, and then eventually he built the church. And I remember my sister was one of the first ones to be baptized, but in his living room.
And we could see how the churches would grow in different locations.
After the war, of course, the Arabic community grew here in Los Angeles, and we needed a larger church.
Meetings were held informally among a group of the so-called Lebanese-type, Lebanese descendant men and families at the home of Mr. Charles Andrews. We're most fortunate because all of them were very successful in their own endeavors, and it seemed to be that the common ground was the affection that they had one for the other, based on the fact that they were all members of the Orthodox Church.
When they built this church, those were people who had foresight, who thought big, who knew that there needed to be growth. Not only that there would be, but there needed to be growth, and they invested for it.
They were working hard. They devoted their entire efforts to this church. You have no idea. They were constantly involved throughout the week, talking to one another, discussing issues. Sure, when you have individuals of such tremendous stature who are so strong-willed, there's going to be conflicts. But those clashes were absolutely marvelous, because what occurred during those days was a coming together. If an issue was presented, it was looked on from all aspects, and the decisions were 90% of the time, decisions that were well thought out and well executed.
It didn't take long before a nucleus of that group organized and formed a corporation called the St. Nicholas Orthodox Church Corporation.
There was a debate when the church started. There was a whole group that wanted to name it St. John's after the church in Cedar Rapids. Then there was a group that wanted to name it St. Nicholas. And at that time, the Nicola family was very large, and we were in all parts of the church. And they said, well, let's name it after the Nicolas and keep them all satisfied. So that's how the name St. Nicholas came to be instead of St. John's.
I came 1947 to meet my brother for the first time in the United States of America. He left the old country before I born. And at that time, 1947, my brother George Beebe, he was among the people who raised money to build St. Nicholas Cathedral.
We had two groundbreaking, one on 8th and Grandview, And then later the ground didn't fit the church. The church was too big for it. So they had to look for another place. Amin had bought the property that's on this church is on now. And then we built the church. The minute the poured the concrete and had the roof on, we had church service. We would clean every Sunday morning. Ladies' Society called the Altar Society. That's where it originated. They would come down Saturday morning and clean the area up, set the altar up, and we had church service every since until the church was completed.
There were a lot of families living close. We had about 60 families living in the Los Feliz area. Glendale, Pasadena, the South Bay, San Fernando Valley, San Gabriel Valley, Santa Monica. They just were outstretched all over. This was the hub. This is where it started.
We were the first in the southern part of the West Coast. The only earlier church was St. George, Portland. And St. Nicholas, Los Angeles, was followed by St. Nicholas, San Francisco, St. George in Phoenix, and so on.
It was an outpost. I remember Father Paul describing that when he asked the Metropolitan what his responsibilities were.
And he told me from Bakersfield to the north, to Mexico to the south, and from the Pacific Ocean to Las Vegas. This is the perimeter of the community. And in blessing homes, that was the area that I had to travel. I'd go out to bless homes for 3-4 days. In 1962, I believe it was, we took a survey and we came back with something like 1,200 or 1,300 families recorded that made up the parish.
We've been very blessed with amazing leadership in the clergy, especially with the theologians that we've had and the leadership that we've had.
They've all brought something very special, very different, but yet remained approachable enough to be able to have me learn from them, which is valuable.
Father Paul's memory is still in this building every single day. Father Michel brought an expansion of our religious understanding, as well as now Father Nabil continuing that torch and his amazing leadership.
Remember a little bit of Father James Mina. Father Mina was bigger than life, and we're reminded of him every Sunday when we sing the liturgy. There's so much of his music that he wrote that we still sing today.
He was our guidance. He helped create the choir and Sunday school and the camp and the Men's Society and the Ladies' Society. They all came out of Soyo.
Father Paul had a big impact on me.
Father Paul was our everything. I mean, he baptized, married, did funerals. I mean, he was everything to our community for so long.
It was so much a part of our lives day in and day out that he'll always be a special person in our lives.
I think of him a lot when I look at pictures, old pictures of the church, because in those days from the 50s it was very stark and there wasn't much color to the church. And it was really Father Romley that was the spearhead of the mosaic iconostas and a lot of the artwork and the way the church physically has changed in the inside and really become a cathedral that we could be proud of and that people are in awe of when they enter the cathedral for the first time.
When we came here, Father Paul Romley was the dean of the cathedral, and Father John Reinhold was his assistant.
Loved Father John Reinhold. He was the most loving individual. The best way I can say it is love just came out of his presence. Father Michel was a phenomenal theologian. You enjoyed him very much.
And then we went through all the assistants. We know them all, you know. Father Elias Bitar, then Father Paul O'Callahan. They became actually like family. His son is my godson. We were so involved in the church, we got to know them all.
And then Father John Ryman just made the whole experience, took it to a different level. Father Kalinick, we bonded with him real well. He was just a great conversationalist. We had long discussions over many evenings. And then, of course, Father Nabil.
He's brought in a lot of new people and treats them with so much respect. We have so many catechumens that have come in the last 2-3 years. And before too long, they're wearing vestments and serving at liturgy. They're singing in the choir. He finds a place for everyone.
Once you bring an idea to him, he will support it and will encourage it.
I was around when the church first opened. First child entered into the church according to my parents, and my life centered around the church socially because that was family, that was home.
The church was very active in those days, and of course the biggest thing we all looked forward to every year as kids was going to summer camp. That program started in 1952 at the Cathedral, and then as everybody knows, 1964 we got our own facility, and here we are today. It's been a real common thread. I guess that's been one constant in this church has been camp.
Camp St. Nicholas is one of the blessings of this diocese and the Cathedral. You know, we kind of take it for granted now, but what these men did back then to negotiate with the government and get that property going and permitted and build.
Camp was the best. We looked forward to it every summer. The most memory that I have is the school buses that we used to, get in on here in the parking lot. And then the big activity was, because we didn't have air conditioners, when we got to the dirt road, the counselors all told us, time to put up the windows. And it was like, we are here, we have arrived. And just stepping out into that beautiful, serene property.
Camp would give us this special time with this extended family to grow together, to have fun together, to experience all these new things and different things. So that's what's important. It's what it provides for these children. They may go in, like as I did, homesick, but I counted down the months until I get to go back to camp.
I would throw my kids on a bus and say, go in peace, because it's always been at the very end of a very chaotic week and a time, raising a whole bunch of kids, right? And you throw them on the bus and say, thank goodness, get going. They would come back from being these little wild things to being calm and serene and remembering some of the prayers that they've been taught. There was just a shift in them, and they needed that week to reconnect with themselves and with the faith, and they took advantage of it. I was so grateful for that.
I have many memories of growing up at the Cathedral, from learning how to be an altar server to learning how to give a speech as a high school student in the oratorical competition, where we had to give our speech in front of everyone at the Cathedral, to having the best Sunday school teachers. I learned so much from all of them in my childhood.
I look at the kids that I taught in second grade at that time. They're all grown up. It's a beautiful thing to see them again, attending.
Growing up here was absolutely amazing. Whether it was Teen Soyo or at church camp, or now kind of making new friends within the young adult ministry, it's just been incredible seeing the relationships that you build and the impact that those people have on your lives.
At age 13, I started in the choir, and that was influenced by, Isabel Elack. Another person that we can't forget is Norman Mamie. He was so influential, encouraged everybody, young and old, to sing.
We're always standing on the shoulders of giants. I really appreciate this continuity, and I always like to learn about the people that came before me. This book has been in this cathedral for a really long time. If you can look here at the dedication, it's one of the chanters, Elias Kunkar. His widow very graciously gave me not just this book, but all of his books. This is one of my prized possessions. The book itself dates back to 1903. It's like a historical relic, and it's something that shows really the continuity of the music ministry in this parish and the great people that came before.
In the beginning, of course, we had the Junior League. When we formed the Junior League, it was the younger women. And when they were 40, they were supposed to go into the Ladies' Society, but nobody wanted to admit they were 40, so we all stayed in the Junior League until Father James says, well, the Ladies' Society needs leadership. You girls have got to combine. So that's how that happened. But of course, with the Junior League, we started the Sweetheart Ball, and that was, of course, a big attraction over the years, and it still is. Our children and our children's children were in the Sweetheart Ball.
So I was in the Sweetheart Ball in 1976. I continued to be involved in the organization of the ball. It is still a beautiful memory, and for me and for my daughter.
It's a special event because the girls, firstly, they bond with each other and they grow and mature in about 6 months. By the time the Sweetheart Ball comes, it's like amazing, and they're so sorry that it's over.
I think it launches them into society, but in our Orthodox faith. So they are together with girls from the entire Orthodox community in our diocese, same with camp, and they continue that bond of friendship for the rest of their lives.
Well, back in the early 90s, Father George started a ministry to the neighborhood that eventually turned into the people asking, hey, why don't we have some services in Spanish? The importance of having the Spanish mission here is, if you think about it, there's 3.3 million people that speak Spanish in the home. I'm just speaking strictly of Los Angeles proper. And as an Orthodox witness to the people of Southern California, it seems like a really good idea. Since God brought the mission field to us, it's a lot cheaper to do it here than it would be to go over there.
Historically, St. Nicholas is significant because this is how we have our apostolic succession. All these other churches that are daughters of St. Nicholas or daughters of St. Nicholas, they basically come back to us for the connectedness to being an apostolic church, just as St. Nicholas itself was established in that way. This community is a link between the apostolic faith that we received and that we handed on, and then we need to continue to grow the Orthodox community.
Well, in the next 75 years, I hope that we can continue to keep the legacy that our forefathers and grandfathers and fathers brought to this cathedral.
It's amazing because you know you're part of something that hopefully is going to continue, something that started years ago and is going to continue on and on and on.
I guess I really didn't think that I was part of that legacy until I was asked to be on this video. And I realized that I'm a third generation, my children are fourth, my grandchildren are fifth. And it is important to me to continue that legacy and to work harder for our cathedral and for our community to preserve the faith for our generations to come.
Nasib and Leon Saliba, who are two guys here at the very beginning. Amin Haddad, Jar Melly, Salem Saba, I mean just on and on and on, Mike Maloof. These guys were giants. They were extremely capable, daunting in fact, to think that we have to try and carry on what they're doing.
My grandparents, George and Vivian Nofel and George and Andrea Rafidi, were two of the first couples that were married in the cathedral. They helped build the structure that we use today. And then my parents were married here in the cathedral, and I was baptized here. And so it is, my responsibility to kind of carry that on.
I immediately think of my family and the women and my uncles. And I just wish I hope we do live up to them.
The future is bright here. With change comes hope.
the new generation and our new catechumens, they are so devoted, and they remind me of our old, adult soyo days together. And they will work for the church. They really will, and that is my hope, to keep the legacy going.
I sure hope that the church will be standing room only at all time, and all colors, all ethnicities.
We hope to continue in the same way, being welcoming. Now we're having a lot of catechumens, and they all say the same thing. They feel very welcome, St. Nicholas, and they say, when we got here, we feel at home.
I remember my first time specifically was 1973. To a teenager, it was impressive. The iconography, the gold, iconostasis. This is what I hope everybody will continue to have when they come. Not only when they first come, but they always walk in and see the sense of awe and reverence. This is God's house. God is here. That's the hope people will have walking into any church, but most especially the cathedral.
I think of the pioneers, and if you ask them 75 years ago, what do you think the church would be like 75 years later? And I don't think they could have imagined what it's become. Owning our own camp, Cedars Manor, the ministries we do, the outreaches. I don't think we know, but what I do know is that we need to keep our families and our friends in the faith. We need to keep supportive of the church, and we need to watch it grow and flourish, and that's an exciting thing.
And as long as there's a mustard seed's worth of faith in every parent that walks through this door, right? And in every priest who serves every liturgy here, no matter who or how many more are coming, the church will be here.
It's where we started. It's where we already bought our plots at Valhalla, so we're gonna end where we started.